my friends, to a new episode of Ways of Teacher Training. This is Shadi Abu Yusuf, and today we're going to talk about a specific type of input sessions, which is loop input. Now, this term loop input was coined by the wonderful trainer Tessa Woodward in 1986. And the idea in loop input is all about relating process to content. Now, what do we mean by process? That's a good question. Process is simply how you do something which is related to experiential learning. For example, you want to teach your teachers how to teach listening. So you turn them into students and you deliver a listening lesson to them. That is the process. However, this is not loop input, not yet. In order to make this session on how to teach listening a loop input session, you need to match the content to the process. How can that be done? Simply by finding a listening passage about how to teach listening and using it in a listening demo lesson. Crazy, isn't it? But damn good indeed. So let's try to design a loop input session together. And I will choose how to teach listening as the main topic of the session. So first, all what you need to do is find a good listening text on how to teach listening, or even create your own and use that text in your demo. Let's listen to this listening text that I created. I received a question today about how to teach listening and the stages we should follow when doing so. I will simply say there are three main blocks in any listening lesson: pre-listening, while listening, and post-listening. So let's talk about the first block in the lesson, which is the pre-listening part. In this part, there are a couple of essential stages: the leading and the context setting. In the leading stage, we try to activate our students' schemata, making good use of their background knowledge, and also getting them interested in the topic of the lesson. Now, when we move to the context setting stage, actually in this stage, we familiarize our students with the context of the listening text, the thing that would prepare them for the listening part and also make them more interested in that text. However, other stages in that block might not be very essential. For example, pre-teaching vocabulary, that might not be a very necessary task, because what if the listening text has no block in words and all words are easy in the text? Why should a teacher run this stage anyway? Also, prediction can be a stage in this block. Some teachers would need to develop their students' prediction skills. And we can see the need for this, for example, when training our students for the listening section 1 in the IELTS exam. Right. Now, when it comes to the second block, which is while listening, all listening sub-skills can cross your mind. Sub-skills such as listening for gist or details or specific information or the speaker's opinion, etc. And usually in a 45-minute lesson, from 2 to 3 sub-skills are covered. And most coursebook designers would go with the starting with the easier listening sub-skills such as listening for gist or specific information before they move to intensive listening. And of course, this is the most important block in a listening lesson without a shadow of a doubt, as it is where the main aim is achieved. As for the last block, which is post-listening, students can be asked to do one of 3 things: speak, write, or analyze. And someone might say, why should they do that? And the answer is, teaching needs to be a preparation for real life. And in reality, when people listen to something or someone, they kind of talk about it with other people or write about. As for the analysis part, sometimes the listening text carries a lot of useful language. We can provide the students with activities that would help them see how this language works in its natural environment. Now, the question is, do we need to cover all three elements in this block? And the answer is no. You might do that if you have enough time, if you want to, but you don't have to. So my friends, three main blocks in a listening lesson. Usually, traditional teachers would turn a blind eye to the first and the last block, thinking that all what they need to do is just play in the recording. So my friends, in a loop input, we simply take that listening passage and we create a listening lesson around it. So let's do that together. And let's start with the leading stage. And we can start with a discussion on receptive skills and what they are. Then we move to the context setting, and we can run it in a student-centered way, asking students to discuss together the reason why the listening skill should be taught at schools. That could be an interesting point. And of course, once these discussions are over, the teacher will give content feedback. Then, the teacher can say, we're going to listen to a teacher trainer talking about how listening should be taught. And he used the following ELT terms. Discuss with your partner what these terms might mean. Schemata, intensive listening, blocking words, and context setting. And once the teacher trainees finish their discussion, of course, you give them feedback. Then we come to the prediction stage. And you say to the participants, now the trainer, as we said, will talk about how listening should be taught. Which areas do you think he will talk about? And then they think on their own, then discuss in pairs, and finally share their answers with the teacher. And during this stage, the teacher should not give them any feedback. He or she just should be listening to their ideas and synthesizing them by writing them on the board. Then we come to the second block, where the teacher runs the first listening task. This task can be easily based on a previous prediction task. The teacher can simply say, listen now to the trainer and check your prediction. And then, again, the TPS, think, pair, and share. Then we come to the second listening task, where teacher trainees can be asked to answer questions like, what are the two essential stages in the first listening block? Why do we need to pre-teach vocabulary at times? How many skills should we cover during the while reading stage? And why do we ask students to speak or write after they listen? Questions like these. Now, as for the post-listening stage, you can give your students a sample of a listening lesson plan. Where there are mistakes, your teacher trainees review the lesson plan in the light of what they have learned from the recording and write a report where they talk about the things that went well and things that need to be changed. Lovely. Right. Now, when this demo lesson is over, you cannot end the session this way. Be careful. You will need to reflect on what happened with your trainees. Well, this can be done either through guided discovery or self-directed discovery. In other words, you can discuss and ask questions to your teachers, or you can give them activities that lead them to understanding what happened in your demo lesson. Lovely. For example, you can give them a list of the procedures you followed and ask them to put them in order. Then match the procedures to the listening stage aims. And Bob's your uncle, my friend. You have your loop input session. So, to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, A loop input is an input session where experiential learning and content are aligned. So, thank you so much for watching this episode of Ways of Teacher Training. And don't forget to like, leave a comment, and share this video to as many teachers as you can. This was Shadi Abu Yusuf from British Training Centre. Bye bye for now.